Today, inshallah, we'll do three important etiquettes, one after the other, with regards to dua. Firstly, the first etiquette, the Quran and the Sunnah teach us that of the etiquettes of dua, the believer should be constantly prioritizing dua of a spiritual and religious nature. Dua of hidayah, dua of forgiveness, dua of rahmah, dua of purification of the heart. It is a mistake that is very common in many amongst us that we neglect this dua and we only raise our hands when a tragedy happens, when our child falls sick, when somebody's on the deathbed, when some calamity befalls us. Then we raise our hands and we ask Allah for a worldly benefit. And this is not of the etiquettes or the characteristics of the believer. From now, our lifestyles, our habit, our routine should be emphasis on religious dua, and then, yes, dunya dua as well. And this is very explicit in the Quran. In Surah Al-Baqarah, what does Allah say? فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. One category of people, they only ask Allah for the dunya, and they have nothing in the hereafter. They're not asking for the hereafter. They're not wanting the hereafter, so they will not get the hereafter. This is not of the characteristics of the believer. You only ask Allah for the dunya. No. The cure of the heart, the disease of the heart, the spiritual nature of the heart is more important than the physical heart. You should be constantly making dua for a pure heart before you have a disease of the heart that you're raising hands for a physical disease. Maghfirah is infinitely more important than money. Allah's hidayah is infinitely more important than any worldly matter. And so our emphasis should be spiritual du'as. And yes, we also ask Allah for the dunya as well. And that's why Allah says in the very next verse, وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ. And there are people who say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Three phrases, two of them are religious. One of them is about this world. So we have a rough idea, a rough percentage. 2/3 of your dua should be constant about religiosity, spirituality, maghfirah, hidayah. Give me Jannah, give me a good khitam, allow me to enter into firdaus, make my scales heavy, give me a pure heart. 2/3 of your dua, roughly I'm just saying, should be constantly about istighfar. In fact, what did the Prophet ﷺ say? I ask Allah's forgiveness, which is a type of dua, more than 100 times a day. More than 100 times a day, he would be making dua for istighfar. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Read the Quran. The bulk of du'as are about maghfirah. رَبَّنَا إِنَّنَا آمَنَّا فَاغْفِرْ لَنَا وَارْحَمْنَا وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الرَّاحِمِينَ وَأَنْتَ خَيْرُ الْغَافِرِينَ. The bulk of dua, اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. So we need to establish a relationship with Allah from now, constantly asking Him for religious good. And yes, we also ask Allah for worldly good as well. So of the etiquettes of dua, emphasis on spirituality, emphasis on religious matters. And yes, we also ask Allah for worldly matters as well. From this verse, a second etiquette we learn. From the same verse of Surah Baqarah. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا. There's an extra word. What is that word? Hasana. Why the difference? What is the difference? The first category are just greedy for the dunya. I want money, Ya Allah. Grant me this job, Ya Allah. Allow this promotion to happen to me, Ya Allah. They just want dunya, dunya, dunya. And the believer also wants dunya, no problem. But he has a description. Hasana. I want the pure dunya. I want the dunya that's going to benefit me. And this shows us the second etiquette, that even when you ask Allah for something of this world, your niyyah should be a positive niyyah, a good niyyah. Yes, we all want money. Ask Allah for money and then say, oh Allah, grant me pure money so that I can be generous to others as well. We all want health. Ya Allah, grant me health so that I can be of the righteous. And in fact, this is in an authentic hadith. When the Prophet visited a sick man, he made dua for him. Look at what he said. He said, Ya Allah, cure this servant of yours. Perhaps he will strive in your cause, and perhaps he will then go to the masjid to worship you. Notice, you link the cure to something that is good. Yes, we all want to be cured. Nobody wants to be sick. But the niyyah shouldn't just be for greed, greed, greed. The niyyah should be for something that is more noble. And any halal enterprise, Anything halal can have a noble niyyah. You know, there used to be a bunch of youth over here 4 years ago looking to get married. I would make jokes about them. MashaAllah, they're all gone pretty much. They did all get married. So I don't know who to make jokes about. Where's that new batch of youth? But the youth that want to get married, the young men that want to get married, there's still some young men I see, inshallah, in the crowd. The young men that want to get married, they should also have this intention. Ya Allah, grant me a righteous wife so that I can have a halal family, so that I do not fall into the haram. Any worldly desire that you have it, but have it in a positive Islamic framework. Link it to something more noble than selfishness and greed. And the third and final etiquette for today. So the first, our emphasis should be spiritual dua. The second, even worldly duas of money, of spouse, of children, of promotion. Have a positive attitude to the religion. Ya Allah, give me this dunya so that I can be a better Muslim. That should also be our attitude. And then the third etiquette that we should be aware of course, dua can be made at any time. However, we have to make sure we do not make dua when there's something more important calling us. So if there's a congregational salah happening, nobody should be sitting in the back making dua to Allah at that time, because there is a priority. So when there's a priority, then obviously we should not be engaged in that which can be done at any time. And this is proven in a very famous incident. We don't have time for all the details, but it is the Prophet telling us about a monk of the past by the name of Gregory, Juraj, by the name of Gregory. Saint Gregory is a monk in ancient Christianity that, of course, back then they were Muslims, they were righteous people. The monk was worshipping Allah. The Prophet told us that he was worshipping Allah, and his mother came and required from him a service to do khidmah to her. And he said, Ya Allah, should I break my salah and answer my mother's call, or should I continue praying? And he continued praying in nafil salah. His mother required necessary emergency. He just turned a blind eye, thinking that worshipping Allah in a nafil salah is more rewarding than answering the call of his mother. And he ignored his mother 3 days in a row, thinking that this was better. And of course, this shows us that nafil ibadat, when they clash with the fard, you give up the nafil for the fard. But he didn't know this. He's a monk. He's a hermit. He's not an alim. He didn't know ilm. And that's why one of the versions of the hadith, it says, may Allah have mercy on Juraj. If he were a scholar, he would have known he has to answer to his mother. But he was just an average worshipper. My point being, when there's a clash, then we must prioritize that which is fard ayn. And so we do not make dua at a time when there is a specific ibadah, a specific need that needs to be done. We prioritize that, and then we make dua at other times. These are our 3 etiquettes for today, and inshallah we'll continue tomorrow with other etiquettes. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.